right, welcome everyone to Good Food with Great People. Come on in, don't be shy. It's time to start the party. All right. And it's Halloween, so happy Halloween. Well, tomorrow's Halloween, but happy Halloween Eve to everyone.
Hey.
It looks like we got one person in. Welcome.
Hold on, we gotta fix all of my stuff.
Oh my gosh, how you guys? Yes, we are also in the process of finishing up our last minute setup.
Oh my gosh, this is
awesome.
Kizzy
So
set
cool.
up over here. Okay.
Hello. Looks like people have already started to join us. Welcome
Hey.
everyone. Hi.
And did you tell everybody your name?
Yeah, so right, because I'm like assuming just because it's our show that people know who I am, right? So my name is Steph, okay, and we also have Kizzy. She's helping me with the lights and fixing them up here. So everyone able to see me? Right?
Yes, the Kizzy.
Okay, awesome. And then we have the lovely Kizzy.
Hey.
Hello. All right,
Hello.
team. So it's been a while. It's been a month since we had our last episode.
I know.
And
I
now
can't
we're
believe
back, just like that.
I can't believe it. And Stephanie had a birthday.
I had a birthday. I just turned really old.
Oh, girl, stop!
I'm almost 30.
Oh my goodness.
It's weird.
It's
You've
so
actually
weird.
known me for so long, like literally at the 21, 22. So to almost be reaching my 30s is wow.
I know. It's nuts.
I made it, mama.
I know. And I'm the only one thinking that.
Right.
No, I was
But
kidding.
as we always say, though, she is 28 for life. I think
Oh
that's
my
like your
God,
favorite
I am.
number. And I just say
I am.
26 because I was born on the 26th. So,
Okay.
26 for life, 28
Yes.
for life. It's never going to change. So we just want to welcome everyone. It
Yes.
looks like we have a couple people already.
Yeah.
Chelsea,
Hey,
we're looking forward to
Chelsea.
this conversation.
And
yes.
Jess.
And Jess.
Oh,
Hi,
and
Steph and Kizzy. Hi, Jess. I always love your picture. It's amazing.
Jess's is amazing.
Yes.
And thank you, Malik, for joining on Instagram.
Hi,
What? Thank you so much.
Yep. So everyone, as Chelsea mentioned, she mentioned so kindly, she's looking forward to this
Oh, good.
conversation, and so am I. It's actually
Me too.
one that's very near and dear to Kizzy and myself. I feel like forever it's just been a part of our lives.
Yeah.
As far as weight loss, right? So we are going to be talking about that aspect. We're going to be, sharing some tips, stories of our journey in a way. But as we were thinking about our weight loss journey, we realized that it's actually really tied into what's happening now within organizations and organizations trying to continuously improve, right? Be more resilient, more efficient, more effective. And those are kind of the same topics really that we talk about and discuss when it comes to weight loss.
Yeah. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Because it's continuous. It's not like, hey, Lori,
Hi, Lori.
what's up? It's not like a one and done. Like you lose weight and you're like, oh man, that was awesome.
Right. Just like it's not a one and done just when you solve a problem in an organization and you act like it can never come back and unfold again. That's not the reality of it. The reality is that we're kind of constantly dealing with the same issues or challenges rather, which is change.
Yes.
And change in whatever. I mean, when I think about my weight loss journey, I think we all know, even in organizations, what are the right things to do, right? Treat our employees better, as far as weight loss, right? Eat healthy, exercise. We know these things. But what happens when change happens?
Oof. You eat cookies.
You eat cookies. You ignore the emails.
You eat a lot of cookies
Right.
and insomnia, and you have a lot of food delivered.
Oh my God,
I know,
insomnia is
speaking
like
for
the
Steph,
best. Yes.
and you gain a lot of weight.
So I just have to, I know we're talking weight loss, but I just have to let Kizzy know really quickly.
Oh.
I saw a cookie shop and they have baklava cookies now.
Oh, stop.
It's horrible.
Stop.
It's, yeah.
Stop.
So I just had to let her know. But
Stop.
there are times where obviously we still enjoy ourselves, even in our weight loss journey. I think with anything, you still have to enjoy. Yeah, you still have to enjoy yourself. But we really want to talk to you all about our weight loss journey. And also, we want you guys to also share about your own weight loss journey. I know some folks that are actually on right now are going through their own, right? So this will definitely be an open discussion. And I hope everyone has something good to eat right now. We're going to get started.
Yes. Because, one thing, we put it like in the ad, but like, I would say definitely combine. I mean, we'll probably through our history, we've probably combined, lost like 200 pounds.
Yeah.
I would say combine throughout the history, but So we'll talk more about that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that's really important that we have here behind me that you were so sweet to set out is, and I think this is the biggest tip. I think, I don't know, you have to fill me in because you've been killing it recently. It's like food prep. Like food prep is hard. It's so much easier to like order food, to have it delivered, to do everything to prep
under
food.
the sun, but prep your food.
Yes.
So
yes,
you actually one of the things that got me actually in terms of prepping my food long time ago. I don't know where I was or when I saw this, but it was a discussion about changing paradigms and you kind of shifting your paradigms in the way that you think. And, normally, I mean, even like when I think about running a mile, I'm already exhausted in my mind, right? I haven't even put on my shoes yet. But when I'm already exhausted. But when I went to this, I think it was like a talk or a course, they were talking about weight loss, and they were just, they referred back to this ancient tribe who used to run, or they still probably do. I mean, they're probably a smaller tribe now, but they used to run 75 miles a day.
Okay.
Or like run or do like, hunting, gathering. I want to be a part of that tribe.
I was not part of that tribe. My 23andMe does not say that tribe.
Yeah, exactly. Probably mine either. But when you think about that, 75 miles, this is something that this tribe did every single day. And that's what it did to me. It shifted my paradigm because I had blocked myself so long thinking that a mile was so much. But here's this whole tribe working together, running 75 miles a day to get all the things that they need done. So when I thought about prepping my food, I realized I was taking so many shortcuts and realizing that actually prepping your food, you're actually burning calories while you do that. Like being active in your weight loss process, it really helps you actually lose what you need to lose because you're working, you're active, and you're not necessarily sitting down, getting on your phone, and then calling up Uber or whatever to get something delivered.
Yeah. I love that mind shift because it's so important because it's so easy to get caught up in failures.
Yes.
And to see that, okay, it's this everyday kind of thing like cooking. But now you turn it into an activity where you're like, okay, I'm burning energy. I'm doing something. I'm having fun. So then it really helps. So it doesn't seem like a chore. Like then it's a burden. Exactly.
And then it's just like now you're thinking about all these different recipes that you want to put together. Or maybe you're the fatty foods that you love, making them healthy. That's one of my favorite things to do, honestly, is making like, my boyfriend must be so tired of it, but making, wings baked and nice and juicy and not having them fried. It's amazing to me because it's like I can still have what I want without all that extra stuff involved. So that's also something that I've been trying to do is just turn all the things that I used to love into something that I can actually that will sustain and be nutritious for my body.
Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah. Do you want to? Because what is it? It's like
Chelsea.
What'd she say?
I lost 50 pounds, but then hit that plateau. Getting back into it.
God. The plateau.
It's a huge thing.
Is real.
Mm-hmm.
The plateau is real, and like I don't even know what else to say, but it can be.
Why do you think we hit plateaus?
I don't know. Maybe y'all know. I don't know. I know. Well, okay. Like that part of me is like, okay, I kind of understand the science of it, but then there's that part of me that's like, well, I hit a plateau because I'm eating too much. I mean, so it's like, I'm just being honest with myself. But I know there's like a scientific reason for it.
There must be a scientific reason. And I know that usually when we hit that plateau, it's that point where we're actually supposed to push harder.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to, not want to, kind of, because it hurts, right? It hurts. So it's also weight loss is a huge part of like your mental, and getting your mental right for these challenges or these obstacles that you have to go through in order to get to that end goal. So definitely there are many plateaus during the weight loss journey, and there are many plateaus for organizations too. They just tend to kind of plateau because again, they're not changing things up. So when we think about weight loss and even organizations, one of the tips that I want to put out there right now is let's start changing things up before things change us.
Oh, that's a good one.
Especially with the pandemic, I feel like our organization wasn't affected as much because we were already virtual. We were already in the fold. So it was just like, whoa, like, Yeah, it's like we were already in that stage, and it's just preparing yourself and being proactive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before the change already happens, kind of already knowing what's coming, right?
Yes.
Does anybody have some tips that they've that will be helpful for anyone listening in terms of weight loss journeys?
And as you're gathering those tips, we're going to show you some of the foods.
Yes. Cover.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you do the honors.
All right.
I may have the full description.
So actually, you guys are like wondering why is a neck. There's a salmon and there's something else though that they don't know about.
Okay, so
actually one of my helpful tips that I'm actually going to mention right now, you'll notice that there is a napkin on top of it, and you're probably you'll notice there's a napkin. You're probably like, why? Well, when you're prepping, right? We talked about meal prep and stuff, and you might be freezing dinners, or you putting them in the refrigerator. It doesn't necessarily come out all the way like nice and soft and fresh as so when you put a napkin and you wet it a little bit and you put it on top and then you put it in the microwave, it creates this like moisture. It's like you're back, like it's like you just made it again. Like what? Like, yeah,
you were blowing my mind. I didn't do that. I just put my little cover on it.
So
wow, look, and then put it in there too.
Oh yeah,
so you gotta do both cameras. Sorry, y'all, we're on Instagram too. Ooh, lean into it. Look at that.
You got some little juices in there, so I just want to make sure.
It's spice grilled salmon fillet.
Bam.
It's I think that's honey shrimp, butternut squash, and one of my favorites, garlicky kale. And anyone who knows me, they know I didn't make that. Didn't make that.
About that.
That's Denise. Friends a cook. Denise, she made that, and there's only what's the other thing? There's no olive oil. It's just because it's a choice. I don't think you knew that. There's no olive oil in any of the food that you've ever eaten that she's made.
So is because I think you mentioned coconut oil.
So she uses coconut oil and she uses avocado oil.
Okay. And do you want to talk about that? Why? Because olive oil is amazing.
I read some things about olive oil. It was just a personal choice. I mean, the way I look at it at the end of the day, insomnia cookies or salmon. So, I mean, at least I'm on the good route, which I think is really important because sometimes we get so caught up in like, oh, we have to be perfect, or I can only eat this, and it's like good and bad, that it was just a choice that I made. And oh my gosh, that one's so good.
Well, I have to try it. Yeah.
No, oh my God. I want to. You got to try it. It's really amazing. It totally is. Oh,
we have some comments. Yeah, we did the same thing.
Oh, good.
So
okay, I wasn't sure.
Comments here. We got Scott with hi, ladies. Thank you for supporting.
And hi, Bianca. Yep. Thank you for supporting.
And then where's Bianca? Oh, where? Let me see Bianca. Oh, Bianca's over here. Oh, yes. Okay. Chelsea says create a routine. Routine creates habits. Habits create change. Change creates results. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Look at Chelsea dropping bombs over here.
Dropping major bombs. That's basically our takeaway over there, right? Because again, get ahead of the change. Create that change versus that change taking over you, right? Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, Jess has a good one.
Ooh. Okay. So
I love, and I don't know if it's appropriate to say this or not. Hopefully, Jess, don't come at me. Please don't. But no, I want to preface it because Jess is personally an inspiration for my weight loss because she's lost and kept off weight, and it's hard. I think the research says that most people regain their weight within a 5-year period, and then they gain more. Right. I mean, that's hard.
Right.
It's really hard. So I really admire you, Jess, and I gain a lot of inspiration from you. So please share what she said, because on IG they don't see this.
Jess said, this is her tip. Find an activity that works for you. I would get bored working out and injure myself because I have back problems. I tried a lot of different activities and now love yoga. It works for me. That is the most important thing. It has to work for you, because seriously, even with our episode today, there's many other people who have different activities. They'll give you different tips, different activities that you can do, but really finding what works for you and not what for everyone else. But of course, taking them into account until you find what.
Yeah, you have to find what works for you. Like, one thing that I always loved was, I still love is jump rope. Like I'm badass with jump rope. Like don't come to me with jump rope because I'm going to make you feel embarrassed. I love jump rope, but I couldn't jump rope up until like a week ago. And so I'm just so happy because I loved it and I didn't have it for like 2 years. And so now it's like,
you get to, it's like one of your first loves.
Oh my gosh. It's like every morning I get to do my little jump rope. It's so nice. It feels good, but you got to find what works for you. You may not like jump rope. You may not like yoga. Maybe you like going for walks. You have to find what works for you. Same thing with food too. You have to find what works for you.
Exactly. And we got some people agreeing. Yes, just totally agree with you 100%. Absolutely. All right. So I think it's time for us to try a little bit. I also wanted to ask everyone
food.
Yes. And I also wanted to ask everyone while we're trying the food, what are you having for lunch, right? We're having lunch together. So let's see what you guys are eating today.
What are you guys eating today? What are you having for lunch or a snack or if you're juicing or maybe you're fasting?
Right, from our last episode, we talked about juicing, which is awesome. A lot of people shared their juicers with us.
Yeah, a lot of people, it was awesome. It was like following the live. We got a lot of images, like people sent images of their juicers, and I thought that was so sweet because I love juicing.
Yep.
I love it, and thankfully there's a store downstairs that offers it too.
Yes. Yep.
But,
so again,
but her juice was so good.
Yes. The perfect juice.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
So anyone eating anything for lunch? Spinach juice.
Hey.
Oh, okay, Chris.
Hey, spinach juice. Hey, okay, I like that. Spinach juice is good.
Yeah. The lunch, Chris? Is that going to be enough? That's good.
You're too much. But spinach juice sounds good.
Oh, spinach and bananas. Yeah, the bananas is everything
in there. It sounds yummy. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, I really do.
We'll definitely have more episodes where we'll put you guys on to some other juices that we make that we really enjoy for sure.
Please.
But yeah.
Yeah, because I would love that. I would love to do more juicing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think we got to try this.
Yeah, I think we got to try this.
Okay. And as she's doing that, here, I'm going to get the empty one.
All right, so I'm just going to be that person to try it first.
Yeah, you got to try it first because I eat it all the time.
And then Denise, if you're listening or hearing,
I love your food. Hey. On my IG people, so amazing. One thing is, I personally like this. I think it's a Rubbermaid. It doesn't matter. This is like the kind of containers that I personally like because I have this thing where like I have to see things. If I don't see it, then I don't realize it's there. And then
that's a good point.
Because then I don't know. It's just how I've always been. It's just something about me. But it's again about you have to know yourself. No different than anything else in life. The same thing with food. And then Denise labels them. Here, I'll kind of do a close-up. And so
labels are everything. Can we talk about that for a moment?
So she labels it. And what's great is if anyone's like me, like, I don't want to ruin this Tupperware. I paid all this money. It's kind of like painter's tape. So it just easily peels off. It easily peels off. I don't have any issues with it. And I have a bunch of these in the refrigerator. All the food is portioned out. And so all I literally have to do is like this. You heat it, put it in a bowl, and you eat it while you don't have your camera on during a Zoom.
I am munching down.
You guys,
this is so good.
This is awesome.
This is so good.
Isn't it good? The salmon?
Literally, Kizzy's just like talking. I'm like, It's like
it's really good. The salmon is, oh my gosh, it's the best.
Yeah, and we have some people here who have written what they're eating as well. Yummy. So Lori is having a salad with garbanzo, black and kidney beans. I love beans. A little sweet corn, just a little, it's a tad, right? Onions, green, red peppers, mushrooms, little sprinkle of shredded cheese, oil, and vinegar. Lori, that salad sounds amazing.
It sounds like something from a restaurant. I love
and like hearty, like you'll actually be full. Because like that's another thing, a lot of people think that salads need to be plain and boring. This is one of the most interesting salads I've ever seen. I make interesting salads all the time. You have to make your salads interesting. They just can't be boring. Otherwise, you're not going to sustain. You're not gonna sustain those salads. They're too boring.
Did you try the butternut squash?
I did.
Oh my gosh,
it's amazing.
Woo.
Telling you, I don't even know snacking over here.
Like I have no idea what she puts in this, but it's amazing.
Okay,
it's not too sweet.
It's like I don't even think she put anything in.
I don't think so. Yeah. She made the butternut squash with the the honey shrimp, because I had her put butternut squash in a breakfast skillet for me.
In a skillet?
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay, we're gonna talk about that. I've been like trying to work on my cooking skills. So Jess wrote, I was feeling snacky and couldn't decide, so I have carrots with a Greek yogurt dip and some multi-grain chips and fresh salsa. Ooh, that is a great snack.
That sounds yummy.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like, listen to your body. Sometimes you do not need a meal, right? Sometimes you are just feeling a little snackish, and having really good nutritious snacks like carrots and yogurt are going to do the trick. Yeah,
definitely going to do the trick.
Yep. Yum, yum.
There's some water here for you.
Okay, yes, I will definitely take some water.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's all you got. You got the KPC cup. You got the KPC cup.
Like my cup?
You got the K. Yeah, show it. There we go. Yes. But one other thing when it comes to the portioning is I'll notice that, like, I'll have a container full of food, but it will last maybe 2 meals.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because I have a lot of greens. So on here, like, you can, like, normally the container is like full of kale or Brussels sprouts, which are my favorite. And then there's like the protein and maybe something else.
But it's not you have substituted that carb, which a lot of people, that's a whole nother thing, carbs when it comes to losing weight. But you've substituted that with like things like squash, where it's kind of like the supplements for that mashed potatoes or rice that you would normally eat.
Yes.
But just as satisfying, if not more satisfying than rice.
Way more satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I also want to go back quickly to the labels that you were mentioning and like how you were taking them out. One of the cool things that I've also been starting to do that I think would be an awesome tip for everyone is if you are known for creating specific spices. For example, at home, I make a chicken shawarma all the time. Now, the shawarma has specific seasonings and necessarily don't want to always measure those seasonings all the time. So I'll literally make a whole jar of the seasoning, and then I just have it for about 4 or 5 times of making it, right? So you don't constantly have to measure everything. If you know you're going to make something more than once, just load it up, put it in a little mason jar and label it shawarma, for example. So I have my little seasoning thing, just like I have a salt or pepper one. I have one labeled for shawarma, and I make awesome shawarma pitas with it. Chicken pitas.
I'm like, why have I never had any of these?
I'm so sorry.
I love like how all of these food ideas are coming out. Or sometimes she'll show, like, Stephanie will have photos on her Instagram account, and I'm like,
where was I?
I've never, maybe somebody else who's on here, maybe you've had her cooking. I mean, I've made many a meals for her. I've made steak, coffee steak. I didn't make you a salmon. I think you've had my breakfast casserole.
Yes, many. And I know, but I just started cooking. I can
wait.
Maybe next time I'll make something.
Ooh, are we gonna?
Yeah, but who knows, right? Anybody would care to see that?
That would be fun.
Yeah, it would be.
That would be fun.
Yeah. So
what are some of your favorite things? Like, okay, how did you determine what you want to eat for the week? Because I think another misconception is like, oh, I'm going to eat the same thing for a week. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. And it seems sometimes I think people believe they're going to get bored.
Okay.
And how do you plan and how do you overcome boredom?
Okay. So I'm still, honestly, to be honest, I'm still working on those things, right? I think you're always constantly working on them because, I mean, there's not so much food, right? It's either chicken, steak, shrimp, right? So you always got those basics. But the way that I handle my prep and stuff like that is actually making, like, I am that kind of boring meal prepper where I have the same dinner for the week and I have the same lunch for the week and most likely even the same breakfast. Steph's food is the best I do. Thanks,
I love the comments. Yep. Thanks, Chris. One day I'll try it.
You will.
It's okay. Yeah, whatever. That's all right.
She will. But so I basically make sure I do have the same meal just because of it works for me, right? My work schedule. I notice I can't cook in the middle of the week.
Yes.
The only thing that I probably can cook in the middle of the week is vegetables. I do cut them up on Sundays. Well, maybe Nick cuts them up on Sundays. And then it's easy to pop them in because who wants veggies that have been refrigerated after 3 or 4 days? I mean, you can eat them, but they're not as, if you're the type of person who likes your food fresh, you have to consider what's the best way to keep it fresh. Maybe just cutting them and then popping them in the air fryer or in the oven once you're ready to eat. And then voila, you have a fresh meal. But I do a lot of the cutting for my meal preps that are not, if it's like the protein, I'm going to cook it. But if it's like vegetables, I always cut everything and then cook it as I go because that's a quick, put the aluminum foil, a little spray, put the veggies in and I'm done, right? So that's easy stuff to do. But protein, I recommend just load it up and, meal prep it. And also your carbs. I just started eating Japanese sweet potatoes.
Did I put you onto that?
No, Fit Girl Mel did.
Okay, so she put me on.
She put you on. Okay,
but they're right. No, they're really good. I love.
So if there's anything, screw everything, all the other tips I gave you. I'm kidding. But if there's anything that you can take from this, is really honestly try sweet potato, the Japanese ones, and they sell them at Whole Foods, right? They're. I have never tasted anything like it. It was amazing. It's not a normal sweet potato.
And what's great about the Japanese sweet potatoes that they kind of taste like a potato, but then they're sweet like a sweet potato. And so I think like my mind is like, what is going on? They make really good fries. So they were made into, you can kind of see it behind me, that big, tall, black thing behind me. That's the air fryer.
And Big Girl Mel's, right?
I know. I'm Big Girl.
The sticker's right there.
I do, yeah.
We're definitely fans, obviously.
Definitely fans. Fangirling out.
Yep.
And yeah, so those are really, really good.
Yep. And that kind of goes back to the point of making those like healthy foods, like good. Like if you want fries, the tip that Fit Girl Mel says is to put them in the freezer for 10 minutes, like after you cut them. So when you put them in the oven, they come out with this like layer of like crispiness. It's like almost like if you
Put
make them in oil and you fry them. So these small little tips, like if you want something that tastes like French fries, just cut them, boil them, cut them up, and then put them in the freezer for 10 minutes. Take them out, do your spray, and plop those bad boys in there.
No, that sounds good. I like that advice.
Yeah. You were gonna say something, Kizzy?
Well, I definitely am. One, I want to know, how do you handle holidays like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas? But when
we went to Disney, about 2-3 years ago. Kizzy surprised one of our, actually Lori, right? She surprised Lori, and it was like the not so scary Halloween at Disney. And I'm not a candy eater at all, but that day I was definitely a candy eater, and I probably love M&Ms till this day because of that day. But yeah, that was an awesome day. But yes, holidays like this are, what are we gonna do about candy? What are we gonna do tonight? What are we gonna do tomorrow when the candy's it's just candy galore?
I kind of had. I'm at this point just today. This is today. I can't have any of it.
You can't have.
I can't. It's like a gateway. If I have some Tootsie Rolls, it's on. Then I'm gonna have Snickers. then I'll have some Reese's cups. And then we have a vending machine in the basement. And then, then it's like done. I mean, seriously, but it's about to know yourself. So I'm not, and there's no candy here. There's no candy in this house. There's oh my goodness.
Those peanuts are deadly. Yeah, and like not having it in the house is very important. So yes, I agree. We're gonna get through this Halloween, but we do have a couple. Oh my God, the best.
Lori is reminiscing about
and smoked turkey legs.
The candy and the smoked turkey legs when we were at Disney.
Yep.
They have healthy options. Yeah, Chelsea says Japanese sweet potatoes are candy. They totally are. Has the consistency of a white potato but the taste of regular sweet potatoes. They're very delicious. They're amazing, yeah. I think another tip, I know because we both, I learned, well, anyways, another tip is if you, like for Thanksgiving or any other kind of event, just to have a little bit of each, so then you don't feel deprived.
Yeah.
So you can do that for candy too. You could say like, okay, I'm just going to have a couple of my favorite pieces.
But you need to know yourself.
That's it. Yeah, you got to know yourself.
You got to really because it's like that, oh, I'm going to have one, and then all of a sudden you got like 7 rappers sitting next to you.
Yes.
Guilty as charged.
Yes. We don't want that. I mean, we want you to be healthy. We definitely want you to be healthy. Yeah. So how about, I think one other thing about like weight loss that I don't know if you encountered this, but I think for some people, they don't realize how different you're treated. Because we're treated, well, speaking for self, I was treated a certain way when I weighed like close to 300 pounds. And then I was treated a completely different way. And then since then, it's kind of evolved. And so I think some people that I have found, they lose the weight and they don't realize how the world is now going to see them.
Yes.
Because it's one of those things that we don't really talk about as much. The impact of weight, not only at work, but in life and just in everything that we encounter as people. So how have you kind of handled that? Like, oh, this is how people knew me and treated me.
Right.
Like that Steph in college with the sweatpants.
Right.
To, oh, now this beautiful, amazing woman.
Right. Well, thank you. Well,
it's
right.
true.
Oh, thank you.
That's true.
Well, thank
you know, I mean, how have you handled that? I mean,
honestly, I was bitter. I was super bitter because I realized how like, and I don't want to say the world's superficial, right? Because I don't know if like when I was bigger, I wasn't showing all aspects of myself or like I don't know. I wish I was looking in the outside as well. But to know that people actually treat you better when you have lost weight, when you look better. And I guess I was feeling better. So maybe that's why it's not an artificial thing. And that's why people were probably treating me different, was because I was treating myself differently. But I do think that when you're in that stage and, you notice, or when you are transitioning, you notice that people are treating you different, you can't help but think that a little bit like upset that people didn't know who you were in the inside this whole time. Because I really personally haven't changed as much in the inside. It's kind of manifesting out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's eye-opening because you're like, but I'm the same person.
I'm the same. Like, and how was that for you? Were you? I was bitter. Bitter.
It was just weird. It was weird because I would go from, oh, do you want some extra bacon? When I was like an undergrad at Alfred University, shout out to AU. I had this plate of bacon and just like, I would eat so much because I drank so much like the night before. And then they would just pile on. So like, let's say we both got bacon. I would have like a pound of bacon, and then
they didn't care.
But because they thought, oh, well, she's fat, so let me give her more give her more bacon. So I started noticing that, like how people would approach me with portion size, how people would approach me with things like activities, or oh, you don't want, Kizzy, are you sure you want to eat there? Aren't you eating healthy? Aren't you eating a salad? And then I got some like backlash from people. That was very surprising. I found that the most supportive people were really my trainers at the time, people in the gym, and strangers.
Strangers are the best.
No, they definitely are the best because they notice, and there's really nothing there for them to gain.
Right.
If a person takes the time to give you a compliment, I mean, for the most part, you just want to make the assumption that they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
And they don't know you, so they most likely are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really important because it was hard where I had people that were like, are you sure you want to go out anymore? Because you're not going to eat anything. And I was like, what is this? And then I had like flashbacks to like, it was just weird.
I'm like, stop don't count my points, count your own.
Yes. And then they're all concerned with you.
Yeah, very, very concerned.
Oh my goodness.
And it's like, you give and take because you realize that most of it is coming from a loving place. But if you've never been in that position, being in the opposite ends where you were bullied, and now you're in that phase where now people are being overly kind in a way, it is bizarre. I agree with you.
I wonder if it's like a person who goes from humble beginnings to a lot of money.
Probably
because I imagine it must be similar in that you're used to the world treating you a certain way, and then bam, maybe overnight or the span of a year, you go from sleeping on your friend's couch to you have this mega mansion and you're nominated for things, or you have, you know, a successful company. However you earned your money, maybe it's similar to.
I'm pretty sure it is. It's just that change, Lori.
Okay, she wrote, yes, Kizzy, when I was much bigger, I always heard you have such a pretty face. Oh my gosh, you have pretty eyebrows. I was like, really?
What happened to everything else?
Eyebrows? It always seemed like an insult, or maybe I was just so self-conscious and insecure, and it was annoying. And now because I lost weight and I'm confident, I feel like people treat me differently. I've even had friends say, oh yeah, I had this too. I'm no fun anymore because I'm not eating crappy food anymore. And she feels the same way as Stephanie, and she felt bitter about it for a really long time. Yeah, that's hard.
Because it's like you're seeing two versions of your friends and family, you know, where it's just like, okay, this is how you really, you know, this is how you really feel, or it's just very weird.
It's super weird. I don't know if anybody else has had that kind of experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess because, you know, the background being IO psychology, I kind of make that leap to when you have that friend that's your coworker, and then that coworker gets promoted, and all of a sudden they're your boss, or maybe they're a supervisor, not your supervisor, but now the dynamic has changed. And so I wonder, I feel like it's got to be very similar, because now it's like, oh, you're not any fun anymore. I can't talk to you about the job because you're a supervisor.
Exactly. Like and it's just like, I'm just as cool. Like, you know, internally I have not changed. And I think that happens a lot with new supervisors, definitely. Trying to balance being, you know, one way and now being a completely different way, and now having to interact with the same people that they've been interacting with the whole time, but just not in a different level, right?
Yeah.
So definitely. And so I think this really goes into, you know, this whole discussion. One of the reasons why we wanted to talk about weight loss is because, again, it really ties into organizational challenges. And I describe, you know, our weight loss, if you look at it within an organization, is becoming more lean. And in unprecedented time like now, I think that companies are trying to become more lean. And lean really, you know, for those of you who don't know what lean is really making those incremental changes to foster effectiveness, efficiency, and most importantly, eliminate waste.
Yes.
And that ties directly to what we're trying to do with our own bodies, right? And organizations do it all the time. It's just how effective are you doing it, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of like where we're really tying in. A lot of companies are basically losing weight right now. You know, they are trying to get rid of dead weight. They're trying to use more technology and find more efficient ways to use technology to get their business done. And so again, how do you become efficient now in this time and age when now we have COVID, and you've been in an organization that wasn't virtual and now are virtual? How are people treating you now? You know? And I really want to talk past lean and talk about resilience, building an organization that's just not lean, but building one that is resilient. And that really means being able to bounce back, or again, have changes that are just randomly happening and you are resilient to them. And I think the best way to be resilient to organizational challenges as well as weight loss challenges is to be proactive. Again, like, change is going to come again. After this pandemic, something's going to happen. We don't know what it is, but it is. Our organization already thinking about what's the next step, what we have to do next, right? I mean, we've already been thinking about this even before being virtual, and now the world's catching up to just being a virtual environment. So it's always thinking not just the next step, but the next 10 steps, and expecting that it will happen. For example, when it comes to our weight loss, I know there's going to be a day that I'm going to fail. Something's going to change, and I am not going to be the best that day, right? But since I know that, let me do something about it now before I get there, because I know that day will come. Does that make sense to anybody?
It definitely makes sense. Often we're so reactive.
Right.
We get so reactive, and it's like, oh my God, I have a wedding, or I have an event, or I need to fit in an outfit, or a reunion, so I need to lose a bunch of weight, opposed to, oh, maybe I should have looked into this before, or man, things are kind of tight with revenues or tight with clients. Maybe we need to make some changes. Then it takes us to a point where there's like a pandemic, and it's like, oh, yeah, let's close locations, let's combine positions, let's figure out how to make things more virtual and automated. And so it's very challenging because we're reactive.
Right.
Often, not everyone, of course.
Right.
So it's figuring out, like, how do you
anticipate what's coming?
Yes. And have a sense of urgency that goes beyond like, oh, just that special event or the outfit. Like, how do you go beyond that? I think having that permanent change is what's hard. You
just hit it right on the nail, Kizzy. Having a sense of urgency. I was actually watching a video before, I think it was yesterday, and it was actually one of my friends that I went to college with. And she was talking about her, having diabetes, growing up or living with diabetes now, and saying, like, you can't just go about your life. And she was talking about also obesity, but you can't just go about your life and be like, oh, I'm just going to be healthy. Like, it needs to be like,
intentional.
It has to be a sense of urgency there. There has to be intention in there.
Yes.
You can't just say, I'm going to live a healthy lifestyle, because you're going to set yourself up kind of a failure. There's going to be those traps, and you're definitely going to fall into them if you're not aware of them. So being really intentional makes you more aware of those traps or challenges that you might fall into. And I think she made a really good point. Like, you need to have a sense of urgency. You can't just be in an organization. You can't just, walk around like, oh, we're making money, we're meeting the bottom line, our clients are happy. There's so much more, and our world is going to continue to change even more. Just think about how much has changed in the last 5 years, 10 years, a year. Let's think about even just this year. But there's been some drastic, major changes, and they're not going to stop.
Yeah, I mean, like, for instance, what's one change that really stands out for you?
In terms of organizational change?
Just in general, in organizational or with weight loss, just based on everything that's happened in 2020.
Just down to the way that we go to the supermarket, down to the way that we interact with people now, like, we had to be sure that we can be this close to, this doesn't happen as much anymore, where you can be next to someone. And of course it's happening more. But that is one of the biggest changes, is just our world is completely different. The way that we even do our work, I think, is less about hours and more about production, because we are at home. So if you get your work done and you get it done well, that's what should matter right now. When I remember before, what mattered is, oh, you're 10 minutes late to the office. What really truly matters? Like, the same thing with weight loss. Do you need those fancy sneakers to work out, or do you need like a whole gym outfit? Really, you can just go out with some shorts and a shirt and do your thing. Like, sometimes we just put some of these obstacles ourselves in our ways. Like, do you need these things to do your job, to be as efficient, right? Do you need these things for weight loss?
That's such a good point. We create these artificial hurdles.
It's
like, oh, well, I can't go run today because the track's not open. Okay, I'm pretty sure the track is open. There's going to be a track here in Miami or Miami Beach that's open. I'm pretty sure. Or, oh, I don't have enough time. I know I was thinking that like yesterday. It's like, oh, I don't have enough time. I have a Zoom call at 8. How am I going to get in my cardio? And I was like, that sounds like an excuse. The gym's open till 11 p.m. and it's a floor below me.
And like, literally and the thing is, there can't be any excuse, because we literally have a computer that you can just go to YouTube and look up a 30-minute cardio exercise, a 15-minute ab workout. And there's literally no excuse.
There's really no excuse. I would love to know, what's your like favorite excuse? What's your like favorite go-to where you're like, I'm not eating well that day, I'm not working out today. What's like your favorite excuse where you're like, ooh, like, what? I'm interested.
What's yours?
I deserve it.
I deserve it. I love it.
I'm like, I deserve it. I am. I'm like, I deserve it. So I'm gonna get it.
I worked hard.
Oh,
what's my favorite excuse? I think literally my biggest excuse is I'm tired.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. I would concur. And I think everyone who knows Stephanie right now would put like a yes, like a number 1 as a yes, or they would type in yes in the text.
I'm always tired. Well, not anymore as much, but like it's believable. That excuse is still believable. If I say I'm tired, people are like, oh, it's just stuff. Like,
oh my gosh, that was the worst.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Victoria.
Oh, that's a good one, Victoria.
My bed is way too comfy right now.
That's a good one.
Especially when it rains. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to work out at 6:30 in the morning when it's raining. It literally feels like an outer body experience trying to get out of your bed. Like, it's really hard. Especially with that rain. Something about that rain just calms you down.
I noticed it because this is like the 3rd time you've brought up rain as an obstacle. I'm like, wow, and when it's raining, I get it. I totally get it. I get it. I love.
Oh yeah, because my birthday, I told you because it was raining for most of the
Yes, and I love it. I just love it. We have another one too.
Okay.
So Lori said.
That's my favorite. I can't open my eyes.
That's her all day, every day.
That's hilarious. No, seriously, sometimes you just can't. Like, especially
maybe you can't. I'll give it up to you. Maybe you can't, Oh, Portland Jones, I'll do it tomorrow. Dang, that's a good one.
Because tomorrow's always that day, right? Tomorrow's my favorite day. Tomorrow's my favorite day. It's the day you planned everything for. Mm-hmm. It's the day you're gonna get everything right? And then tomorrow comes, you're like, what about tomorrow? That's a good one. So I'll do it tomorrow.
I like that.
And that's why setting goals is so important. I can't stress that. Why? Because it sounds like me.
And me. I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do this.
Yep. And you're super determined to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, and then tomorrow keeps coming.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that actually made me go into my weight loss journey. I don't know if anyone's ever seen Back to the Past. I think it's called Back to the Past. Not that it's one that says like going to the future, and then one says like going back to the future. No, like there's one that's like is this a movie? It's a movie. It's on Netflix right now, and it's like this little boy or whatever. He goes like back to the past, and he goes to the past, and he has to change. Like basically, he realized that when he went to the past, he made these changes, and when he made these changes, his parents, basically made a change where his parents didn't meet. So he was like disappearing from like a photographer, like a photo. So the whole mission was to like get the placement back so that, I bring up that story or that movie because that was one of the most significant, like it kind of like struck me, and I love lessons in movies. And it made me realize like, no matter what, the time is going to pass. Right. Just like this year has already, think about it, passed, right? Next year, the next 4 years, right? They are going to pass. But what are you going to do about these next 4 years? Because the time will still pass. But every little small thing you do is just accumulating to your future. And noticing that, it was like, man, present Steph, and that's where that comes from, right? Present Steph really needs to be worried about future stuff. Because within these 4 years, no matter what, the time will pass. But what I do within those 4 years is what matters and what's going to make that difference. Does that make sense? Like
it definitely makes sense. It makes sense. I think it's a good analogy. Yeah. I really like that.
Yeah, and it really put things into perspective. So when I think about like these excuses, I'm like, well, if I wait for tomorrow, tomorrow's going to be 4 years from now, and I'm still going to be feeling and looking the same way and doing the same things. And like this year, I really made that conscious decision during the pandemic to just really be consistent, because I know the things to do, right? We always know the things to do. It's just a matter of being consistent about them. And I'm like, man, I can't wait for these 4 years, because I don't know what's going to, after the 4 years, I'm really going to be, if I keep it up, I really am going to be the person that I've always wanted to be, and it's just because of being consistent and really being deliberate with your time.
So how do you maintain consistency? Anybody else too out there? How do you do that? How do you maintain it? Because it's easy to say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, or I'm going to do it starting 2 January.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start doing it. So that could be going to the gym. It could be
Right.
changing your eating. It could be juicing. It could be fasting, whatever it is that you choose. Or maybe you decide you don't really want to eat processed foods. What may have you? And then you're like, oh, wow, day 3, this sucks. How do you get past like day 3 and you're like, I'm going to keep doing it? How do you guys do that? What do you do to stay consistent?
We definitely want to hear from you guys. But I really, honestly, that movie like was life changing for me. That's what keeps me going. I'm like, nope, the time is going to pass. I have to do it now.
It's a
sense
great.
of urgency. I have literally put that sense of urgency on myself. Accountability buddies.
Yeah, Victoria.
You're my accountability buddy too.
Oh, you're mine.
Remember we did the Oprah thing? That's where it also started too. The movement thing. More movement in our lives. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like in it. Yeah.
I totally forgot how we kicked off 2020.
We kicked off. I mean, when we were ready to hit the ground running. 2020 had different plans for everybody. We hit the ground running. We went to the Oprah 2020 Vision Tour.
Sure did.
It was the first one. It was in Miami. We were super excited. And one of the beautiful things that she talked about was movement and how we have been lacking in that. As you become an adult, it's like you know, I mean, think of it as a child. You're running around doing all these things and someone's telling you, sit down, right?
Yes.
Open your book, behave. And you become more of that versus like that inner child. So it was really interesting because I realized like, oh wow, my inner child is a little bit, you know, vacant right now because of just focusing on, you know, your career aspirations and work and all these things. So don't forget to bring out the little child again, right? Ride your bike. Right. The movie's called The Land Before Time. Is it? I thought it was back to the past or back. Okay.
We'll have to look it up. We'll look it up. We'll look it up. We're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna figure it out.
I think accountability buddy is important.
Yep.
Goal setting. They have different apps. There's like a ton of apps now where you can put in your goals and you can track your weight, you can track your food. I mean, I feel like nowadays you can track everything. So there's no shortage. Right.
There's so many
no shortage of resources.
Free, paid. I mean, there's a whole range of them. So there's no excuses.
No, there's no excuses.
There really aren't.
There aren't any excuses at this point in time. Yeah. I think what also helps me is I not only feel better when I hold myself accountable, but it also impacts me in all my other areas.
It really does.
It impacts so many. How's that for you? How have you found that it impacts you professionally when you feel well and you're eating healthy and holding yourself accountable? I just think I realized okay, what works for you is I really need vigorous exercise in my life. I truly believe that. Comparing the person who I was before I was very active, it's different. My even the way I improvise with things. I'm if I have a call, it's my brain is just sharper. I'm able to think about things clearly. Or sometimes I had learned something and a client wants to know, oh, what's your opinion on this? And before I was I can't find that textbook in my head. I can't. It doesn't go that far. It's behind the cookie. And now because I'm very visual, so I actually see textbooks and my notes and all that stuff in my head. So now I can actually look at the book and I'm oh, that's what I'm doing right now, or I look at that note. But before it's I would have just excuse for lack of better words, brain farts. And fitness has really sharpened me up, where I'm just retrieving everything that I learned in college, and even just being able to retrieve things learning. I used to be really bad at people's names. I probably am still just a little bit, but I've gotten way better because my brain is just more sharp. But I would concur. I would say I've seen that with you. I've seen that with myself. I mean, it definitely has an impact. We're cutting close to
yes, we
1
are.
o'clock.
We had such a great time.
We definitely have, and I have.
I hope you guys could hear that.
I would love for you all to join our community.
Yes.
Please join our community. Text us at this number. And for those of you on IG that don't have access to the scroll, 305-853-9481. You'll join my community. Stephanie will be on there too. We'll send you messages, motivation, amazing words of inspiration, encouragement. But before we go, I would love to know. Oh, yes.
Is anyone dressing up today?
That's right.
Happy Halloween.
Anyone dressing up. And if you're dressing.
I don't think they can see our pumpkin. Or your pumpkin.
Oh, here, we'll get here.
Yeah, we also had our pumpkin out for everyone. But is anyone dressing up today? Look how cute. This is so cute.
So anybody dressing up today?
So I'll start while you guys type, but I am going to a Halloween party tonight. It's very small. And
150 people. I'm just kidding.
Like 15. Like 10 to 15. And originally, well, I thought no one would want to do Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is sold out. So if you're looking for an outfit right now, it's going to be a little bit harder to find an outfit. The only thing that we were able to find is a nun and a priest. So we are scratching that. And I'm going to be a farmer.
I think that's a beautiful.
Oh, a pastor and a nun. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I would say, you gotta scratch that.
I'm going to be a farmer. I'm going to have plaid shirts and jeans, 2 braids, like a little.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's very appropriate.
Yes.
I was in Future Farmers of America when I was in 8th grade. Just putting it out there. I support that. I love our farmers. I think it's a cute costume. But you know what I love most about it is like it's something you can just make. You can put together what you have.
Exactly. You don't have to go to Party City. Even though it's such a good time going in there.
It is a good time. Nobody. I'm not dressing up.
But that's the thing. I thought that this wasn't going to be a big Halloween season, and apparently things are sold out. So there are things happening tonight.
I know I know around here there's a ton happening.
Okay.
There's definitely a ton happening, and I saw some kids earlier, but yeah, I'm not really doing anything.
Okay, well, it doesn't look like
I don't think anybody else is dressing up, or maybe you just don't want to tell us. That's okay. That's your business.
Right.
That's your business.
I'm not, but I have my Superman costume ready from my fur baby. That's so cute.
Spencer. That's so cute. Oh, I want to see that.
We got any pictures, Jess.
We totally need pictures. That's so cute. Well, we definitely want to thank you all.
Yes.
I mean, we are so grateful. So grateful for showing up, spending your valuable time on Instagram and Facebook and Twitch and YouTube. And it means the world to me.
It really
does. I can't thank you enough for sharing and being here and being in my life and being an inspiration to.
Yes, our weight loss journey. We're going to continue at it, and we're going to keep you guys posted. Sure. We want to hear about your journey. This channel is called Good Food with Great People, but you are the great people.
Yes, you all are.
And we will see you all next time.
We're going to end the broadcast.
Have a good Friday, everyone. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.